Dwarka is believed to have been the first capital of Gujarat. The city's name literally means gateway. Dwarka has also been referred to throughout its history as Mokshapuri, Dwarkamati, and Dwarkavati. It is mentioned in the ancient prehistoric epic Mahabharata, and according to this legend, Krishna settled here after he defeated and killed his uncle Kans at Mathura. Bhagwan Sri Krishna, when he settled in Dwarka, prospered it and made it known as the city of gold. The kingdom established by Krishna flourished and extended its domain of opulence to nearby places. The world's first reclamation of land from the sea was done during Bhagwan Krishna's rule on the shores of Dwarka. He reclaimed 12 yojanas, that is, 8 kilometers of land from the sea to create the civilized Dwarka with accessible ports and connectivities. The history of India also recorded the events that led to the destruction to world's first and the oldest city in modern times. Dwarka and how the Yadava clan got cursed on 3 occasions will be discussed here. On the first occasion, at the end of the Mahabharata war, Gandhari curses Krishna and his clan to perish. On the second occasion, great sages such as Vishwamitra, Brighu, Vashishta, and Narada, among others, cursed the Yadava clan when Samba and his friends play a childish prank on them. On the third occasion, Bhagwan Krishna curses his wives that they will be kidnapped and killed by ruffians. He further curses his son Samba to suffer from leprosy. So, how did this all happen? At the end of the Mahabharata war, Gandhari lost all her sons except Duryodhana. Krishna comes to visit Gandhari. She knew that all her sons have been killed by Bhima in the war. She could also hear the cries of all the slain soldiers' wives lamenting in grief, and Gandhari was helpless and could find no way to console any of them. She blames Krishna to be the cause for this total destruction of the Kuru race. Gandhari believed that Krishna, though had the power to prevent the war, did not do enough to prevent it. So, if Krishna had really willed, this bloodshed could have been avoided. In a fit of rage, Gandhari curses Krishna and says that the Yadava clan would also be destroyed through an internal strife in the same way as the Pandavas and the Kauravas were destroyed after fighting with each other. She also curses us that Krishna will be a mute witness of this entire carnage. She also says that Krishna would watch this entire clan perish and would himself die a death like an animal. Angry Gandhari did not repent or remorse for the evil deeds of her own sons, but instead cursed Bhagwan Krishna and the Yadava clan. On hearing the curse, Krishna replies that the Mahabharata war was a necessity and it was inevitable. He reminds Gandhari of the time that he came as the peacemaker to establish Dharma on behalf of the Pandavas and how her son Duryodhana arrogantly declared that he would not share land big enough to fit the point of a needle, let alone Pandavas. He reminded her again the incident when Duryodhana, with the help of Shakuni, attempted to destroy the Pandavas on various occasions. So he finally says that it is his duty to protect Dharma and not to prevent the war. So he reiterated by saying, although he controls the entire universe, he does not interfere. He allows people to choose their own actions, similar to what he said in his discourse to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan Krishna is now contemplating the end of the Yadava race. They were very powerful under the protection of Sri Krishna, so no external force on earth can defeat the Yadavas in war. If the Yadavas themselves are left unchecked, at some point of time in future, they will become a burden on the earth. So Bhagavan Krishna realizes the importance of bringing the destruction of his own race. The opportunity of destroying his descendants from the inside, when no external power could even touch them, had finally come. Once, great sages like Vishwamitra, Durvasa, Vashishta, Narada, among the others, were on a pilgrimage. After visiting various places, they visit Dwaraka to have a discussion with Krishna and Balrama. Over a period of time, the Yadavas, which included the Bodakas, Vrishnis, Kekayas, and Andakas, who were once virtuous devotees of Krishna, lost their senses of culture and discipline and were little more than hooligans. A group of Yadava boys who saw the great sages decided to play a prank on them. The oldest of them all was Samba, the son of Krishna and Jambavati. He dressed himself as a woman and tried many robes on his belly so he would appear a pregnant woman. Then he approached the sages and asked them to predict whether the women would give birth to a boy or a girl. The rishis knew the truth through their divine vision and realized that the boys were mocking them. In anger, Sage Vishwamitra cursed them, saying that the disguised boy will give birth to a lump of iron, which will bring the destruction of the entire Yadava race. The boys panicked and go to King Ugrasena and narrate the whole incident. Ugrasena advises them to grind the lump into a fine powder and dump it into the sea if it was ever born as per the prediction. So finally, one day Samba gave birth to a lump of iron rod. The soldiers did as they were told, but they were unable to grind the entire lump into a fine powder. A small piece of iron couldn't be crushed. The boys discarded the powder iron and the remaining piece in the Prabhasa Sea. Assuming Krishna had no knowledge of all that occurred, the boys were at peace. Only time would tell them this. The powder gets deposited on the sea coasts and grew like stalks of bamboo. And these were also called as musala in Sanskrit, which meant huge, strong clubs made of iron. Samba was the son of Krishna and Jambavati. He was very handsome and good looking. He was the cause of the third curse. The Yadavas soon forgot all about their curses. The consumption of alcohol was banned in the entire kingdom of Dwarka. However, after 36 years of Mahabharata war, lots of divine associates of Bhagwan Krishna disappeared from the Dwarka city. So the Sudarshana Chakra and the plough weapon of Balrama left earth. This was seen as a sign of final destruction among the Yadavas. They approached Krishna. Krishna suggested them to visit various holy places and to take bath in holy water at each place. Following Krishna's advice, the Yadavas went on a pilgrimage to various places. They all soon come to a place named Prabhasa Sea. After taking bath in the sea, the Yadavas forgot the teachings and again started to drink, spending their time cheerfully in the night. They all became intoxicated by alcohol. The women and children who were present there got very scared and hid themselves in the tents. In the past, Satyaki and Kritavarma fought on the side of Pandavas and Kauravas, respectively, in the Mahabharata war. They were one of the few handful survivors of the Mahabharata war. Their battle exploits in the Mahabharata war became the starting point to trigger the conflict among the Yadava men. Gradually, when these intoxicated people started talking to each other, one thing led to another and they started arguing about the war. Satyaki said to Kritavarma that he was not a Kshatriya and strongly criticized him for his involvement in the killing of Upapandavas, the 5 sons of Draupadi and Pandavas. Kritavarma in turn tells how Satyaki killed an unarmed Bhurisharvas who sat on meditation on the 14th day of Mahabharata war. This irritates Satyaki's father, who says to Krishna as how Kritavarma was involved in the killing of Satyajit during the Shamantakamani episode and that he will not spare his life now. So, a conflict erupts between Satyaki and Kritavarma. Pradyumna tries to stop the fight but in vain. Satyaki took his sword and kills Kritavarma. Now the Yadava men started dividing themselves into 2 groups. One group supporting Satyaki and the other supporting Kritavarma. They all started fighting with each other by using swords, bows and arrows. After a huge fight, Satyaki got killed. Balrama tried very hard to stop the fight, but few of the Yadava men who were already intoxicated by alcohol even went to an extent of attacking Krishna and Balrama. After witnessing the fratricide of his kingdom, Bhagwan Krishna and Balrama get depressed. Balrama goes to the forest immediately, but Krishna asks Daruka and Babaru to go to Hastinapura and bring Arjuna so that he can take all the women and children safely to Hastinapur. In the past, the small uncrushed and not powder piece of iron that was dropped inside the sea coast in Prabhasa was swallowed by a fish. A hunter named Jara caught the fish and got the iron piece out of its stomach. He made them sharp and added poison to it and fixes them at the edge of his arrows. After witnessing the movement of Balrama, Krishna sat under a tree in yogic meditation with his head down and his leg upward. Bhagwan Krishna thought about his past. He recollected the killing of Kamsa, the killing of various demons, and the destruction of the Kuru race in the Kurukshetra war, Gandhari's curse on him and his kingdom. In the meantime, the hunter Jara was passing by. The hunter looked at Krishna's feet. He mistook them to be the face of a deer. So he aims his arrow and shoots an arrow. The arrow hits Krishna's left foot. The hunter comes towards the deer and soon realized that it was not a deer. In fact, it was Bhagwan Krishna meditating. He realizes his mistake and pleads Bhagwan Krishna for forgiveness of his sin. Krishna consoles him and says that in his previous birth as Sri Rama in the Treta Yuga, Ram killed Bali from behind. So Krishna has now reaped the prarabdha for the same karma through Jara, who was the king Bali in his previous birth. In this way, Krishna left the mortal world. The exact time from which Krishna left for Vaikuntha is considered to be the beginning of Kali Yuga. So, as instructed by Krishna, Arjuna plans to take all the women and children to Indraprastha. He gave them 7 days' time in order to vacate to Dwaraka. Vasudeva, Krishna's father, leaves for heavenly abode while being in meditation. Struck by huge grief, the wives of Krishna and Balrama pounce into burning prey. Arjuna performs the last rites for Krishna and his kinsmen. The women and children take whatever wealth they have and start moving towards Indraprastha along with Arjuna. As the people walked away from the Dwaraka city, the city sank into the sea when the first tsunami waves of Kali Yuga hit the city. So this is how the greatest golden city, once ruled by Krishna, came to an end and was submerged by the water of the Prabhasa sea.